Hello, everybody. Welcome to Expression Pass here on Bossfish Network. I'm your host and lots excited Eddie V. Joining me is the one, the only bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Edward. Happy Friday. You know, I wish we recorded on Fridays more often. You know,
I know you said that you want to have Fridays off on recording because of you recording most of the whole week, pretty much.
I know. I just, I think I've changed my mind on that quite a bit because of, I don't know, the crunch to get it edited and out from like Saturday night to Monday morning is like, I don't know, it kind of takes up a lot of Sunday. But
oh well. Yeah, right now I'm off on Fridays, so my schedule changes.
Well, why didn't you say something? Anyways, not important. Nobody cares. Nobody cares when we record this. They just care when they can listen to it. We'll move on. Moving on.
Well, Corey, what is going on with the big boys?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Why are you asking me the hard questions? If they don't know, how am I supposed to know?
So, everybody, we're kind of going to have. I'm sorry of having this discussion, but what is going on with Microsoft and Sony? Like, I don't know what is really going on.
I think the bigger question is what's going on with Xbox. I think PlayStation is I feel like they're in a weird spot, but I feel like they at least have a plan that, you know, they're kind of turning around at this point. I don't know if we'll see that plan come to like full steam ahead until PlayStation 6 comes out, which I don't know if you saw the rumors about that, but might get delayed because components are so expensive because of these tariffs. That won't go away until our current the current United States administration is out of office. I will say, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, you look at studios at PlayStation, like Bend hasn't released a game this generation. Naughty Dog hasn't released a game this generation. I mean, technically Santa Monica hasn't, because God of War Ragnarok is a PlayStation 4 game. Guerrilla hasn't, although Horizon 3 will probably get announced soon, I imagine. Although I'm really
I don't think
Lance Reddick's character, but that's
and I don't think anyone at Guerrilla has help with Death Stranding 2. Was my assumption.
I mean, they're consulting on the engine, but I mean,
okay.
I mean, you know, Kojima's using their engine for that, which I haven't played Death Stranding. I don't have an opinion on it one way or another, but the game looks really good, like visually a stunning video game. And yeah, if I was PlayStation, I would be hoping everybody wants to use that Guerrilla engine. What's it called? The Decima engine. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think PlayStation at least kind of has course corrected. I mean, obviously they've, you know, Jim Ryan's not there anymore, who was the kind of big proponent of the Game as a Service initiative, which I don't think was a terrible, you know, I still think they should be probably chasing that a little bit.
I disagree. I think it's terrible.
Well, financially, it makes sense to chase that. I think they shouldn't be using their main first-party studios as resources for that. I think you use like a third party or someone in a second party capacity that kind of knows that area, right? Like, I don't think, you know, I don't know if you've been paying attention to PlayStation news at all, but like, I'm not sure that Bluepoint, your studio that specializes in remakes and remasters, should be doing a live service God of War game. It's just me, I don't know.
It's going to get canceled because just like
it did get canceled.
Okay. Because I was thinking like that.
Point. That's the point I'm making.
Because like that Last of Us game that ended up
which was the only one that was apparently any good, from what I've heard from about playtesters and stuff. But I mean, I think I feel like they're just chasing the wrong parts of live service, right? Like, look how many they've tried, and obviously Concord was a big failure. They bought Bungie for Destiny and Marathon, right? And Destiny, as good as I think they've done turning that game around over the course of the last 6 to 8 months with Edge of Fate, player numbers are down, like really down, like a third of what they were when the final shape came out, which was already down. The Marathon with the whole art situation, and like, they are working on adding features that weren't in the game based on beta feedback, and I mean, that game is delayed indefinitely right now. But I mean, honestly, I think Bungie's your best shot at the moment in terms of live service. But look how well Helldivers did too, right? I mean, that was the one they weren't counting on being as successful as it was, and it ended up being a smash hit to the point where they're like, let's extend its life by putting it on the Xbox. Like, crazy.
Well, and I think because extraction shooters and live service games are kind of what we're kind of talking about, everybody.
I mean, extraction shooters are live service games, but
they are, yes. But I think when we think of extraction shooters, some people might think of like Overwatch, and so
Overwatch is a live service game.
It is, but what I'm saying,
it is.
I said, but I'm mentioning, and like Overwatch is not designed like Destiny. Like, it's not a first person shooter or anything.
It is a first person shooter. It's exactly what it is. Oh, Edward. We can all tell Ed doesn't play multiplayer games all that much.
But there are some.
I mean, there's different types of live service games. I mean, Disney Dreamlight Valley is a live service game. It's not one that you think of, right? But it has the equivalent of a battle pass every 2 or 3 months. It has expansions. It has weekly challenges. It has daily quest like, it has all of the trappings of a live service game, right? But it's just not a shooter, so people don't really look at it that way.
But I think, like, for me, I think and this is just me, everybody, when I think of live action, live service games, I think of like Destiny. When I think of extraction games, like, I think of extraction games as online, kind of like multiplayer style games.
I mean, but that's every live service game. Online multiplayer is every
live service game. But Destiny has a campaign and stuff. It has a story to it and everything. And yes, there is a multiplayer aspect to it, but you could play that game by itself. And of course, it has to be online. Where extraction shooters, you need multiple players to play that game, even though it is online.
Marathon has a solos mode, and that's
are they bringing
that? It has you can queue up in that game solo.
But they don't have a campaign, so
no, and they're not planning on that. But they are going to add some sort of way to make solo players feel like they're accomplishing stuff, which is nice.
Yeah, but like I guess I'm thinking of campaign for Destiny, that you could play that full game besides the multiplayer stuff by yourself to get a story, but you have to play it online. Like, the game won't. Sure. I mean, it would run. It would. I think it would run on. Would the game run without being online?
No.
Okay, so you need online. Where I think with extraction shooters, you just need multiple players. And
no, you need online. Extraction shooters are online PvP shooters. You need to be online.
Well,
it is a live service game.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's only multiplayer. That it's only,
it is a team-based game. Yes.
Yes. You're killing me.
You're killing me, man. Sometimes your descriptions of things really stress me out, and it takes everything in me not to just like morph through the screen and slap you a few times.
If you morph through the screen, can I take you to Taco Bell?
Yeah, I'll take a couple quesadillas and some nachos, please.
Oh yes. That sounded delicious. I'm a little bit hungry, everybody.
Dude, I'm so hungry. But I think Sony should have some live service games that are, bringing in some money, and I mean, look, like we talked about earlier, right? Like Sony last quarter, 52% of their revenue came from 10 games. 10 games. 52% of their revenue. How many of those games do you think they own, Ed? How many?
About
of those 10 games?
Out of those 10 games?
Yeah.
Out of 10 games, are you talking about the 10 games on Sony on PlayStation 5?
Sony made 52% of their revenue for PlayStation. The entire ecosystem of PlayStation from 10 games. Okay. Out of the thousands that are on the PlayStation Network. 52% came from 10 games. How many of those do you think Sony owns?
It has to be 5.
0. Sony does not own any of the games in the 10 games that made them the most money. Call of Duty, Minecraft, Fortnite, Apex Legends, EA Sports Football Club, Madden, NCAA football, Grand Theft Auto, and I kind of forget what the other 2 games were, but Roblox and something else. But Sony doesn't own any of them. So, like, I think Sony wants to prepare for the worst in case the platform ever goes away, which I don't think it will, right? I mean, PlayStation's too big to just vanish. But like, I think they want to have that game or couple of games that bring them consistent income so they can reinvest in their single player experiences, which is what people go to the platform for anyway, right? Like,
but I think there's just too much fatigue.
There is
with the live service.
I agree with you to an extent, but their financial reports don't lie, right? My nephews don't play single player games. They only play live service games. My friends that I talk to at work only play live service games. I mean, some of the people I talk to that play games at work, though, are like, they're the Call of Duty, Madden, Grand Theft Auto gamer, right? Like, those are the games that they buy, right? So, like, but that's what a majority of people are like, their kids will play Fortnite or Minecraft. They'll buy them these, gift cards that are like $30 and they can buy their skins or whatever and call it a day. Or, Call of Duty is free. Like, Warzone is free now, right? So, like, buy skins there. Like, it all comes from these microtransactions, and that's the piece of the pie that Sony is missing out on, right? And
but I think we're not speaking as in fatigue is with definitely with Sony is it feels like they have an idea of doing a live service game, and then next thing you know, it gets canceled or shut down. Here go another live game service, it gets shut down. I think when we watch the PlayStation directs and stuff, here's another live service, here's another live service, here's another live service, and people are just like, whether the game is in production or it's a trailer, it's the same thing that Nintendo gets blamed on when it comes to farming games.
Yeah, but
there's
I mean,
too many.
Sony, the only reason why we know they've invested in so many is because we're deep in this. They've only ever announced 3 of them, right? Concord, Helldivers 2, and Fairgames are the only ones they've ever announced.
I thought
obviously, I mean, I guess The Last of Us Online was announced at some point, but like,
yeah,
you know, I mean, Concord obviously kind of fell off the planet. You know, Fairgames, I don't know.
I don't even know what is even happening with that game. Like,
I mean, I think it's an extraction shooter. I think it's like Rainbow Six Extraction meets Payday. I think it's
not even out yet, right? Still,
it's in playtesting right now. But if anybody sees anybody playing Project Hearts on their friends list, that's Fairgames.
Right,
so,
and Jay
Raven's not there anymore, right? I mean, she left, so.
But her studio is making a live service game.
That's Fairgames.
Oh, it is?
Fairgames was her game. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was something else. I thought she had a different game.
No, okay. that was her game. So, I mean, it's hard to look at, you know, all these investments, and then you see something like, I mean, look at games like the weirdest games that have success, like the first Descendant, right, is massive. Marvel Rivals is massive. Overwatch, despite everybody saying that game is dying, is like, I think it's like number 9. It's the 9th most played game on the Xbox right now. Like, these games are massive, and where Sony wants to be is where Microsoft is actually succeeding. Microsoft has so many live service games that I don't understand why they keep closing studios, because they have so many live service games that make them so much money, right? Like ESO alone, right? That's a game nobody ever thinks about, is Elder Scrolls Online. Who thinks about that game, right? If we're talking about Microsoft's live service stuff, it's usually Fallout 76 or, you know, Minecraft and Call of Duty are obviously like ones that you wave the flag for,
because like
Overwatch, but like,
because in the past E3s, when we see, before Microsoft brought Bethesda or ZeniMax and just in general, when it came to E3 and the Elder Scrolls stuff came on, folks was live, like being excited and everything. And I don't know if it's just because of the employees, but like, I knew when Elder Scrolls Online first came out, like in the early 2010s, I believe, it was a big deal. It was a really big deal, and it just like low key, you know, it had a community,
right? And then you learn in these financial reports, like over the past 8 years, I think they said 9 years, it's made over $2 billion, right? I think it came out. That information came out when they shut down that other game that they were working on, that kind of Blade Runner-esque game that apparently, like, Phil Spencer said thought it was so good, like during a meeting they had to take the controller from him because he wouldn't stop playing, and then they cancel it 3 months later. You know, but that's besides the point. You look at the amount of money that Microsoft makes off of these live service games, and they're eating good. They are making an incredible amount of income. You look at the live service. Hold on. You look at the live service games, you look at their Game Pass numbers, which, you know, they're stagnant, but I mean, they still have 30 million Game Pass subscribers. So, like,
right.
You look at that, and Microsoft has that consistent income that Sony doesn't have, right? First party consistent income that Sony doesn't have. What Sony has is they are making 30% rip off of every other game and microtransaction from these other games. Right, and they are the dominant platform, right? Of what they say they have sold 80 million units or something like that. at this
I
point.
think so. Yeah,
You
because
know,
they like because Microsoft revenue went up when once
Mhm.
their games showed up on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like I think it was last month that they made that story that they
Well,
did report on it.
it's been like 3 months in a row. Like Forza, Indiana Jones,
Mm,
Grounded, Sea of Thieves are all still in the best-selling games on the PlayStation.
PlayStation. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, this is I said fatigue. So this is a thing just in general with fatigue in games. So people have fatigues for live service / distractions. People have fatigue for farming games, and people have fatigue from Souls games. But the crazy thing is, if for the distractions live service, certain particular games will bring in money. Farming games, I don't care if you want to complain it on Nintendo Switch and PC or whatever, brings in money regardless of sales. Trust me, there's a lot of people who love farming games and it makes money. Um, with Souls games, Liza P, like the developer or publisher, just said something. It's still making them money. Like they still reporting financial success from that
Right.
game. So
They are
that's why.
that is
Oh,
I mean that's like you look at that studio and you look at Sandfall, who published or who developed Expedition 33. Like those games feel like exceptions to the rule currently. Like you find these
mhm.
single player games that people just latch onto and love and buy, like, but then you see like thousands of other games just like trying to get their game out there, right? Like
Yeah,
I think the problem honestly with the industry right now is there are just too many games, period. There are too many games coming out every single day. Remember when we used to go weeks without a game coming out, especially during the summer? There would not be a game come out during the summer at
yeah,
all. And then, you would circle your calendar. Oh, NCAA and Madden are coming out here, start
yep,
of the fall season. Here come the games, right? Like that every year, like clockwork, you would see that. And then what game came out? I think it was one of the Batman games came out in June, right before E3, and everybody's like, "Why are they putting their game out in the summer?" Like that was like a big deal. And
yeah.
now, like every single day, game, like you know, PlayStation. I have my PlayStation on right now because I had to update it, and I'm
I'll let
whatever.
it update. So
There were like 23 games that came out today.
because
23 games.
the summer used to be for your backlog right after. So May would be your last time to sell a game or pick up a new game. And I mean, not saying that there wasn't a big release windows for games coming out June, July, and August, but back in the day, you may get one game in June, you may get one game in July, but it was E3 and your backlog. That was gaming for the summer for years.
Yeah. So
And I think we didn't get started, and this may be me, like we didn't get like game until like almost, I feel like in this modern age, the Nintendo Switch, when Nintendo was bringing something out between June, July, and May. I mean June, July, and August.
I mean, I think it kind of started like when like somewhere within the Xbox One PS4 generation when they
Mm-hmm.
started allowing these studios to self-publish, right? And they made their dev kits cheaper so they could sell more of them so they could get more games on their platform, right? And I think that's good, but like now you see all this AI trash like clutter the new release stuff, right? I mean, the Switch
Yes.
store is like terrible with it, and the PlayStation store is not much better. Uh, and like you just can't find things, and even games that are like popular, you have to like search for. And I think there's a discoverability problem because there are too many games coming out, and then the AAA games cost too much money to where they need to sell a certain amount, or they it's like one and done. You can't, unless you're a platform holder, and you can't survive in an industry like that. And I know
Right.
people are saying there's going to be a crash. It's like it's not going to be a crash because if I mean I don't think there's going to be a crash. I think the industry is just going to evolve into smaller things like Sandfall and Wiz. What are they? WizKid, the Lies of P studio. And these smaller studios that create these, 25 to 40 hour experiences on a minimum budget with these small teams that maybe don't look as good as Death Stranding or Uncharted or The Last of Us visually, but like they're still fun, quality, interesting games, and I think we're going to see, I think over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a lot of studios rise up in the 30 to 50 people working range, creating, these what you would call AA experiences essentially. And this is going to be this is where the games industry is going to go. I think the giants are going to fall, and I think some of them have. I mean, look at Xbox. They've fallen so far in terms of like, what the public, what the public thinks of them. Right. And, I think about it all the time with Xbox, where like, I love the Xbox. I love the experience I get on the platform. I think the store works great. I think the platform is one of the, I love playing on the platform itself, but like not knowing if they're going to support the platform moving forward at some point, like it's preventing me from buying games there. Like I buy a lot of my games on the Switch, not because, I mean, I like playing in handheld mode sometimes, and like I like my Switch, but like there are games on my Switch that maybe I would have wanted to play on my Xbox, but like I didn't buy it. And I think Xbox is training the ecosystem not to buy games unless they're on sale or come to Game Pass.
Which is kind of,
and that's a problem. I think as much as I think Xbox needed Game Pass to exist at the time that they brought it out, I do think Game Pass has, in the long term, hurt Xbox in a way that they just can't recover from. Mixed with, obviously, like the launch of the Xbox One was disastrous, and the investment in a digital library obviously is something that people want to keep, right? And so when you jump ship from the Xbox 360 to the PS4, and then you start getting these digital games added to your library, and your friends are there because crossplay didn't exist, and you start building and building and building, and suddenly, over the course of 5 years, you have 30 or 40 free games that you got from signing up for PlayStation Plus, and you have, 100 or 200 or so friends to play games with, and you've made communities within these games. Like, Phil Spencer said it best. They lost the generation that they couldn't afford to lose. And now they're trying everything in their power. I mean, they spent $80 billion on studios to try to have content for Game Pass and try to have content to sell their box, and they still didn't sell the box.
Because because of the used game thing, when Sony took their jab at them at E3, and now, because we say now, it's funny looking back that the thing that people didn't want just happened, and we just accept it and don't remember that what Microsoft was planning to do is what them and Sony doing now.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with ultimately Xbox was right, and they made a bold move of announcing it first, and they announced it the wrong way, and they didn't ease into it, and people don't like instant change. A lot of people need to be eased into it, especially gamers, Of course, your Xbox or your PlayStation are going to, most people use their consoles, if they have one, as their entertainment box. Of course they do.
It like with the just even with the physical thing, it's just like, okay, so y'all was upset during that time at the physical thing, but then like GameStop is closing. All these GameStops are closing, and even they changed their business and everything, because what ended up happening with physical stuff, everybody just started not everybody, certain people started going digital. You know, and it's just so amazing to see that what people were mad at one point, now that it's happened, it's just accepted, and the upset about it is not used. That's why this game key card thing and stuff that people be upset about, that's gonna go away. Why? Because
because ultimately people won't care in a year or two, right? Like,
right.
And the games that matter the most to people, especially like indie games and stuff, will find a way to be on the cart, especially if that company that makes the carts starts selling other sizes, right? Because
right,
that's ultimately the problem, is the company that Nintendo buys these cartridges from, which they've been doing since the DS, by the way, that makes their cartridges,
right,
only makes one size for the Switch. They won't make another size, so Nintendo has to buy that one size or the empty cart for the game key cards. Like, those are their two choices. And so, now this company is essentially going to be forced to make smaller cartridges, right? Because you look at what they say, Octopath Traveler Zero's file size is 5 gigs. Why would you buy a 64 gig cart for a 5 gig game, right?
Right.
You would buy an 8 gig cart or a 16 gig cart, right? I would assume they come in like 8, 16, 32, 64, I would assume would be the size. But like, why? So like, of course they're going to do a key card or digital or a Switch 1 release, right? Like, because that's where their money makes sense. And these companies, as much as they want to make fans happy, they also want to make money,
So the Rydell remaster, the game I talked about on Power Block, is a game key card. I put it in, let it install, and the only way I could play it is if I put the game in. But that's the same as also putting like a physical game in. I can't play that game without having the card in. It's the information is on my system, so I'm like, what difference does it make? And what people have the fear of is the license being pulled. Once the license being pulled, they can't play it anymore. But I'm just like, no, that thing should still be in your system. But they feel like if they take it off and archive it, there's no way to download it. Well, we won't know that until that situation happens. But that's like any kind of game, like on Xbox and PlayStation and stuff. I know Xeon on Nintendo Life, he just like, here go the 10 games that I could play offline for on my PlayStation. I'm like, yeah, there's only 10 games, but guess what? That's probably already 70% of your hard drive or your SSD and stuff. So yeah, you could put it in and play it. But for people who don't play those games, they gotta have a digital version. And if those licenses get pulled, it gets pulled after you paid them all that money.
Yeah,
and that's on any platform that you play in this digital age. We already knew that we were buying licenses to play these games.
Yeah, and you look at like, I think the reason too why cartridges in particular are so, people are so wanting to collect the cartridges, because cartridges are more likely to resist the media decay, right? You look at like original PlayStation discs, and they are already starting to decay, right? Like because they're not being used or people aren't taking care of them, and the media is just rotting off of them, right? And that's something that people, I don't think, consider a lot of the time when they're collecting physical media. And I think the cartridges, I mean, you can still pop an NES cartridge into your NES and it'll work, right? If you're
right.
I mean, my NES still works. I had to replace the pins in it, but it still works. My Game Boy still works. There's a crack in the screen and the screen needs replaced, but like it still turns on and still works, and you can still play games if you can see through the crack. Like, but like the fact that those two consoles are from the mid 80s and then you get something from the 90s, mid to late 90s, like the PlayStation, and like can't play a disc, it's, I think, in the long run, these cartridges are going to be important to preservation.
Right.
And, it's important to get these games on the cartridge, essentially, is what I'm trying to say here, right? Like, it's important, just from a historical perspective. So, and like, I think also, like, if these companies kind of go away and you have that key card and you can't download the game anymore, like, I don't know, I kind of feel like there's a bigger problem going on somewhere than like these games and, where they're, where you can download them from, right? Like, I think, people are always concerned, like, what if PlayStation goes away or what if Nintendo goes away? I'm like, well, then there's a bigger problem in the world because they make so much money that I don't think they're ever going away.
Right.
But, I mean, obviously Microsoft is in a different situation, but I don't think they're always going to be able to like preserve your library somehow, whether it's an Xbox or a PC library, which is, obviously the argument right now is like, how, if they are going full on, we're going to integrate the Xbox ecosystem into our Windows 11, Windows 12 gaming ecosystem and make it one. How does my original Xbox, essentially Xbox One and backwards, right? I mean, some Xbox One games are available on PC, but not all of them.
Exactly.
And all of Microsoft's games will be available, but what about third party? How do third party licenses transfer? And like, how does the emulation work for 360 and original Xbox games? And what if you can't do that? Will you be able to use our purchase history to give us keys for PC versions of these games? Like, and like, what about games that don't exist? Like, one of the big reasons I'm disappointed we didn't get a Gears collection is not because I want an updated version of them. I mean, the 360 versions run at 60 frames a second, 1440p. They still look relatively good for that era, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with them. But 2, 3, and Judgment aren't on PC.
Yeah.
And if you're going to integrate the Xbox ecosystem into your PC ecosystem, you're losing like literally the first half of an entire franchise behind. And that's, obviously, like, that's where the AMD partnership comes in and trying to figure this out. But like, at the same time, what about the copy of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood I bought digitally on 360? Am I going to be able to play that? It's backwards compatible on my Xbox. Am I going to be able to play that on a PC in 5 years when, the Xbox console ecosystem kind of goes away? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are the questions Microsoft needs to answer. And they need to, if they're launching a new box next year, this is something they need to answer real quick. Especially if it's a Windows based box and not a console.
Because I think with stores actually discontinuing like video game sections, not fully, but like we may not even have a place to buy games.
I mean,
unless we order them.
You see the Xbox section, and when you go into Best Buy or Target, it's like my desk is bigger than there's Xbox section. It's full of controllers, crappy headsets, and like gift cards with game codes on the back.
Like it's like one or two shelves, and that's it.
Yeah, I have Expedition 33 on physically on Xbox. Why do I have it on Xbox physically? Right? Like, I don't know, because you can't buy physical Xbox games anymore. That's the big knock against Hellblade 2 right now.
Well, and with Xbox, just with Xbox and Best Buy, you have to pre-order or you have to order and have it shipped in to get a physical copy.
Yeah, like, I had to purchase it on. I had to purchase my physical games on Best Buy's website. I couldn't even go to the store and find the games I wanted.
And that's what I do for a lot of my games. It's just like even for Switch, like when I Switch 2, I had to pre-order Bonanza and go pick it up from Best Buy. When more games come out, I'm at the pre-order it on Best Buy to go pick it up because like the shelf space is disappearing. And so I think when we think of, and I know we had kind of transitioned from live service stuff to this conversation. Live service is the same thing as like some of these games, because like if a live service gets pulled and you pay for it, you don't get your money back.
Yeah.
That money is just gone. You out of money and you out of the game. But so, and that should probably make you upset and be like, well, I'm never going to support this company again. But people still do because it's one game, and they make if it's a company that you don't support and your favorite game is exclusive to that company's hardware, you're gonna be like, well, I gotta play it.
And then then you get to the point where like, well, why do I buy a physical when like I have this 35 gig day one patch that fixes literally the entire game? Or like, we talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider all the time that literally has a different ending on the disc than it does in the patch, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's interesting from like a historical and preservation perspective, but like it's ridiculous that like you can't just buy the game and play the game that's intended, and
I was hoping the same thing with Mass Effect 3. I brought the trilogy. I'm not even talking about the Legendary series. I brought the trilogy on PS3 so I could go through all three games. And I went to all three games, got to the ending of part 3, and didn't get to see the original ending because of all the complaints. It literally updated to the new ending. And so now the only way to see these original endings, you have to go to YouTube. You know,
so like, and that's another reason why like having the games on the cart matters, is because usually these companies wait to put the games out on. I mean, look at Cyberpunk is entirely playable on the cart without having to download the patch, right? Or Yacht Club waited to put Shovel Knight out physically until all the DLC was out, for the collectors out there. And so like that's also important. I think discs should probably do that too, right? But ultimately a lot of these AAA games are being essentially forced out without being ready because these companies need to make money, because they need to tell their shareholders that they have this many sales by this date. And that's just the unfortunate path we're on, or also sometimes you get games from smaller developers that the games are broken, but they literally can't afford to keep developing because their budget is running out, and they need to make money. And the only way to get money is to sell the game and then fix the game after it's out. So like, there's all kinds of messed up stuff, right? And you're not going to get a Final Fantasy 4 and 9 months anymore, right? Like that world doesn't exist anymore. It's not going to exist. It's never going to exist anymore.
These games now take a long time, even for indies. That's why certain games get delayed. Definitely, if it's a one-person developer or it's a two-person developer, like these games are going to take long. And yeah, the cost might be like $15 plus some dollars for a 3-hour experience. I'm like, but you got to realize it. Like it took the long time to develop because it was this many amount of people. This was our budget. We had to make everything work within our budget, and that goes with first party and big AAA third parties that they're thinking about their budget. No matter if they got 200 to 400 some people, they still gotta make sure that that game is quality is high enough that's going to attract people to actually pay and buy their game and stuff. You know, and whether you wait for a sale, whether it's PC or a console, they're hoping that they get enough people to buy their game when it's released to recoup the money for that budget. With the game key card thing, sorry, going back to that, Corey, they're trying to me personally, they're trying to, you know, stop piracy from happening. If it's a game that you did not buy.
That's another big part of it too.
And Nintendo just like, if we cannot read this game is a legit game that you purchase, we're not going to let you play it. We may block your system or brick your system.
Who's bricking systems?
I have no idea. But they're just like, we're trying to stop piracy from happening.
Well, and I mean, that was the big thing with the Switch 1, right? Is like a launch Switch that wasn't updated was able to be hacked pretty easily.
Yes.
We know that from people we know have been doing that, and it's not right. But you know, it's and Nintendo, it made sure that it wasn't going to happen again. You know, for better or for worse, quality of the console, whatever, right? Like I think the Switch 2 is a great console. I would rather them be more secure than not. I know people like to think they're entitled to play everything and just steal stuff because they think they're entitled to it, but you know, it's yeah, it sucks. It doesn't matter which way we slice this conversation. I think the game key card stuff kind of sucks for physical collectors. I think, you know, you should have the option to have the digital or the physical. I think this is a terrible compromise to try to have your cake and eat it too. And the bad thing too about these digital key cards that nobody's talking about either, Ed, is that the key cards count as digital sales. They don't count as physical sales. So like when these companies get their data back and say, oh, well, you know, we sold, you know, 75% of our games were sold digitally. So like, why are we making these cartridges? You know, like the data is going to come back skewed because they can't tell the difference at this point. I mean, I'm sure they probably can tell the difference, but you know, they're going to see that digital is much higher because of these key cards. And so then they're just not going to purchase the key cards at all to save even more money to then just sell you a digital piece of a digital game, which, you know, is fine for digital collectors, but not for people who want to collect these things. And again, I think you should have the option to buy physical or buy digital. I don't think this compromise, lazy is the wrong word, but like this isn't the compromise that gamers need, right? Let alone what they want. It's not the one that they need, you know.
Well,
so I have to give it to CD Projekt Red, right? And what was the other game that they made a big deal was all on the cart that wasn't a Nintendo game? recently?
Oh,
boy.
I know. Guardians of Azuma, the Room Factory one, that's all on cart. Because that was released. I mean, that was released everywhere, and that was a launch game for Switch too. I know that was all on cart. Street Fighter 6, I believe, is all on cart.
It doesn't. I guess it really doesn't matter. But like, I give it to the companies who are, doing right by the player. Especially someone like CD Projekt Red, who clearly messed up when they launched the game. Right? Like, clearly that was just probably a PR nightmare for them. Also, like, just a general development nightmare. But like, for them to optimize that game and put it on a cart, right? Like, we looked it up the other day. I think it's like 62.8 gigs the game is on a 64 gig cart, and that's impressive. That's really impressive. I know they made some visual compromises, right? And that game, runs at, probably 40-ish frames a second, but like, it looks good. It plays well. It runs well. It is a good version of the game, and you can play it off the cart, and that's ideal. That is the ideal situation for physical collectors.
For physical collectors, yes, I think, because my thing is with the game key card is that the reordering of it. Like, there's got to be some inventory that lets these companies know that, hey, we need more stock because your game key card stuff has sold out. So I wonder, because I know you said they count digital sales from the game key card because it unlocks, since it's a digital version that's unlocking onto the system. But I think that's what I wonder, how is this working? Are they, when my game key card of a third party game, if it sells out at Best Buy, or is Best Buy placing reorders and they're counting that as, be like, okay, they sold out of our game key cards, so we're not going to take that money until it's actually on the system till we read it? Or is it that when they do the reorder, you sold 4 copies, okay, this is the amount of money that, or this is the percentage that we take in our cut of it. When we send you another 4, if those sell out, are we going to be counting those again? Because of the inventory. Since it's physical inventory, but the game itself is digital in a sense. I wonder how all of that is working out.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know.
Because I think that's the thing about how the sales and the business of the game key card thing is working. Is that, yes, they are counting the digital versions, but I wonder, are they counting it when it comes to the game key card once the game downloads? Because it's reading in its opening and be like, okay, we counted it even though Best Buy sent us the data that we sold 4 cards. So 4 people who got this game is downloading.
Well, I think someone like Best Buy probably just counts it as an in-inventory sale, right? Because they store the boxes on the shelf, right? So like,
yes,
for Best Buy, it probably just counts as a physical good sold in their store. I'm saying, like, once they sell that, the developer or the publisher will count that as a digital sale.
So it's 2 different counts, even though it equals the same. It's 2 different.
Yeah, counts. I mean, I think Best Buy probably counts, like, if you can tangibly touch the box, that is a physical good that they are selling. I don't think they care about what the publisher counts it as or anything. I think they count their inventories separate. I think that the publisher, once somebody purchases that and sticks the key card in, they're like, oh, we made a sale of that game. It's a digital sale, because they're downloading it from their servers and you can see the download. It'll take a download off. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so they get the number, but not the sale, because they're getting their sale cut from Best Buy when they sell the game key card. That's what I wonder.
I mean, the physical. the physical sale probably counts the same as like a game key card sale at Best Buy counts the same as a regular cartridge at Best Buy.
And Atlas cut from it
in terms of like the cuts and like who gets paid what, and this company gets this percentage, the publisher gets this percentage, the developer gets this percentage. That's probably all the same. I'm saying like when they report their numbers.
Oh, their numbers, it's the digital. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was trying to wonder with the business, business portion of it and stuff. Because with the digital sales, whether it's digitally or game key card and stuff, normally third party would count it. Nintendo won't really count it unless it is their physical sales. You know, because like I would suspect that Grand Theft Auto having all of these huge numbers. I'm like, you guys have to be selling this digitally to make all of these big numbers. Because I think if I go in the store, go ahead.
I think people when Circana announced like reports numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not by unit sales. It's by amount of money made. That so like Grand Theft Auto could sell like 3 copies next month, but they could sell, $100 million in shark cards, and that all counts towards the same number for Circana, right? So like, games with microtransactions tend to make more money every month than a game that doesn't have microtransactions. And so like, I don't know. I think people like to fluff the Grand Theft Auto numbers a little bit in terms of it's on the charts every month. And it's like, well, yeah, because it's an active live service game that people are still buying shark cards for.
And I'm just using that as an example. And I think I think there needs to be, and maybe there is a YouTube breakdown or educating about this on how video games, sales work, and what when we see them, whether they're on whatever list, like not Family News, but Famitsu, like when we see their physical counts. And you said Circana, that's the new one, right?
Formerly NPD is now Circana.
That's it. Okay, so with Circana, like when we look at those numbers, I think we could be educated on how well that game is doing, because of the units or maybe the money and stuff. Getting that breakdown, because Corey, when I put in my game key card, it don't take me to the eShop store. It literally downloads. Right. It may take. It may take.
It's a convenience thing too. To have that, it reads the license from the key card instead of the eShop, right? And then it just knows to download it, essentially.
Right, and then I finished the download. I took the game out because I think I got Guardians of Azuma in. I'm like, when I put that Radu back in, it loads just like that, like it was a physical game. Full on. So I'm just like, I don't see the big deal of this. And maybe that's just me. I'm like, I'm fine with third party doing the game key cards. I have no problem. And plus I'm just like, having a huge library, I'm like, if this gets me to beat more games because I'm worried about the license, then I'm going to get into those games and beat them. And I think Nintendo said that, I don't know if it's true, but I think they said even if you let someone else use a game key card, it will unlock and everything. So
yeah.
Oh
man. Anyways, PlayStation is turning around. Xbox is confused. Key cards are interesting.
I want to see what happens with this survey. I didn't do the survey or anything. I'm blaming Nintendo or anything. I wasn't going to take no survey just because people are angered about that, the Genki cards, and be like, well, this is going to make them change. I'm like, this is not going to make them change.
Yep.
Because if a third party wants to do this, they have the right to do it. Nintendo gave them the option. Well, I'll go somewhere else and buy it. Well, if you're going to go somewhere else and buy it, do it on Xbox so they can have some sales. That just leaves me that I could order this game and play it on Switch too. So,
yep.
But Corey, I think that's going to be it. I think we had a good conversation. I enjoyed this one. This is, what are they doing?
It's kind of a flowing kind of thing going on, you know.
What are they doing? Well, too much. Nintendo, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony are doing too much. That's the basics.
Yep.
So, well, with that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Christian S. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.